Welcome back to the Paradizo Boiz podcast. Thank you for clicking on this. We're talking about comedy movies. If you're clicking on this, you probably are a fan of comedy movies. So, you should subscribe to the channel and leave a comment so it stays in the algorithm. And we're getting into why comedy movies suck nowadays. Every comedy movie, fucking bullshit. And if you want to hear all our thoughts on that, then you got to watch through the entire video. Isn't that right, Brad?
That is correct. You got to watch all of it.
All the
don't
video.
Leave us hanging.
Yeah. Brad's here. I'm here. We're talking movies as usual, as we're known to do.
Yes.
Brad, how's it going?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm a little hungry.
Yes.
Other than that,
what are you in the mood for?
What am I in the mood for? Oh, man, that's a great question. I did have a sandwich for lunch, so maybe preferably not a deli sandwich.
Not a deli sandwich. Brad, we're talking about comedy. We're talking about comedy movies that suck. Mm-hmm. We've been talking about this. We've alluded to it over the past few episodes, just talking about some issues we've had. Even on your show, you've talked about how you don't think comedy movies are as good.
That's true. I did a deep dive where I looked at comedy movies over the past 2 decades-ish, roughly. That was pretty much the time frame. And there's just been... I don't think every comedy movie that's come out recently has sucked. Like, there's been a few that stand out to me. Mm-hmm. But overall, in terms of... Yeah, quality is also not there, but quantity is also not there either. Because if you look at, even as early as 2010... Yeah. There was dozens of theatrical releases of comedies or movies that were,
intended to be comedy. Yeah.
And then if you look at, I was just looking on Wikipedia, actually, the most reliable source, and the amount of movies that came out in 2019, comedy movies, it's like less than 10. Yeah. It's insane. And half of them are like one's like the Lego Movie 2.
Yeah, and that's the thing
I fuck with, but like, that's it.
Well, yeah, I think there does need to be a distinction between like a comedy and a comic book comedy or a children's comedy, or like, we're talking about like just straight up, just like comedy, like funny, silly movies. Mm-hmm. The reason this sort of came, even like I've had people in life come to me because, we've been talking about Get Him to the Greek, Dewey Cox, like all these movies. And I've been talking about it with other people. And they're like, even they're telling me like, oh yeah, those were the last, like Tropic Thunder, like those were the last good like comedy movies.
Right. And I mean, not every movie from that period has aged well, but a lot of them have. Yeah. And that really was the last like great decade, at least for now, the last great decade of just a comedy movie after comedy movie after comedy movie. There was always something to look forward to every month, every other month. Whereas now it's like even the movies you look forward to, most of them are on streaming, which is fine. Like that's a great place for comedies to go to, because part of the reason in my deep dive I talked about that comedies don't typically like break even in terms of like budget and then promotional.
But they used to.
They used to, but it was
like The Hangover. That was like the biggest R-rated for a while.
Yeah, as time went on, they were less and less bankable. But The Hangover was kind of the last like real like franchise, I guess, comedy franchise to be born. Yeah. I'm sure that's debatable, but I can't think of anything else off the top of my head that was that much of a success. Yeah. In recent times. Yeah,
because I mean that movie, even like a lot of comedy movies, I can't think of any off the top of my mind, but I just remember like there was a phase of like, oh, we have to do like a Hangover style comedy movie, and so that was kind of, and I think a lot of people say that like the issue with comedy movies is that they're too woke, which I disagree with that. Like,
not all.
Yeah, there's not a lot of like woke comedy movies. And the ones that are not like the big, like blockbuster, like you need to see this movie.
Yeah, so. And even the ones that do try to, they do include that or sneak it in depending on how you feel about it. Uh-huh. They're trying to be subtle most of the time. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't think it's like a woke thing. I don't think it's like a... I had another point, but I can't remember what it was going to be.
It'll hit you.
Yeah, it's just... I agree with what you were saying. The studios just don't want to take a risk on something that could potentially lose a ton of money. That's pretty much what it
is. They're just not a guaranteed bankable thing. And from the business perspective, it's understandable, but it's like, fuck.
Yeah, and the ones that are coming out, they're just not funny. They're not clever. They're not like so. Yeah, I want to get into some of the ones that I've seen. We talked about it a little bit on the podcast. The Jennifer Lawrence one, which I don't remember the name of off the top of my head.
Was that the most recent one?
Yeah.
I still want to watch it. I can't remember the name of it.
No Hurt Feelings or something like that. No Hard Feelings, I believe.
That is it. Yeah.
And I remember when the movie was coming out. I mean, this was like 2 months ago, but I remember when it was coming out. It was like, oh, this is the rebirth of like the raunchy comedy movies, but like
didn't land.
No, I mean, if you're marketing it as like this is like the craziest, raunchiest movie you're gonna see, I'm like, dude, like
I got that they were going raunchier for it because it's like she's essentially like a hooker in it, right? She's a woman for hire.
Matthew Broderick is paying her to have sex with his son, and that's like the plot. But
like confirm, like I want you to diddle my boy.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, yeah, no, that is a bold thing. We haven't seen a comedy movie be raunchy like I almost said ranchy. We haven't seen a good hidden valley fucking rom-com. Yeah, we haven't seen a lot of raunchy comedies in theaters lately. So yeah, that was definitely a welcome thing. But you've seen it.
Yeah, no, it's like in terms of raunchiness, like there's Jennifer Lawrence is nude in one scene, and then there's like barely a sex scene. It's like they're under blankets and they don't even have sex, and it's just. And when you say like this is the dirtiest movie of the year, which I don't think they were saying that, but they were saying like this is the return of the raunchy comedies. Mm-hmm. It's like you need to fucking like. It can't be just fucking like some tame. I mean, American Pie, which we've talked about. I don't know if we talked about it at length in the podcast.
I don't think so. But
that movie, or like Something About Mary, like those movies had like, you know, there was a reason that, you know, those movies stand out to people. The Hangover too, like there's a reason people consider this like a raunchy, like hilarious comedy.
Yeah, because they're pushing boundaries. These movies all did things that we've maybe heard about or maybe even read about or heard on the news or something, or from a friend from a crazy weekend. But first people to put it on screen. Yeah. It's pretty bankable.
Yeah. And just something like that. There was another one, which I also heard was the best comedy of the year. But I didn't see this one. It's called Joyride. Did you see that one?
I know I've heard the title at least. Like, who was in it?
It's like these 4 Chinese girls, and they go to China and they take drugs, and that was one. Like, someone told me like this is the funniest movie. The owner of this movie theater, he said that this was the funniest movie he'd seen all year, and just from the trailer, it's produced by Seth Rogen. It just looked like another Seth Rogen like take a bunch of drugs and get punched in the face like movie. And so how do you feel about those movies?
I mean, if they're actually like, I don't know, they're welcome, especially like 4 Asian actresses in a comedy. I haven't seen that before. Yeah. So that's kind of, fucking cool. Yeah. So that alone, I'm interested. But Seth Rogen produced things lately. Like, I will say I did enjoy Good Boys.
Okay, I haven't seen Good Boys, but I heard that's really good.
Yeah, I went in with moderately low expectations, just kind of like, oh, I'm gonna escapism. I don't go into movies with all that. But yeah, it exceeded my expectations. It had some pretty fucking laugh out loud moments. Okay.
Yeah, just like with this movie, the Joyride, it just looked like Neighbors 2. Like it's like Neighbors but with Asian girls. And,
that's what it sounds like. It does sound like essentially women centric. Asian women-centric hangover type film. Yeah, because they're traveling, or like a girls' trip. Yeah, which was another successful movie from the past decade-ish. Yeah, I think they did have a sequel too. Yeah,
they had a sequel to that. Really?
Pretty sure, or at least there's going to be one.
Yeah, not that like Asian women can't have a Seth Rogen movie. It's just like it just looks like very derivative and just looks like the same shit that's been like
Yeah, it's kind of cookie cutter. Like, they put their spin on it, but end of the day, it's still a group of 3 to 5 women. Yeah. traveling somewhere. What was that movie? I think
the Scarlett Johansson one, where
Bachelorette Party,
something like that. Yeah, where they accidentally killed a stripper or something.
Yeah, Kate McKinnon played an Australian. I saw it. It was fine, but it was just another it was forgettable.
Yeah.
But it was another girls trip template.
Yeah.
Let's take this premise. This one we'll put Scarlett Johansson's gonna be in it.
Yeah.
Like a real actress, unlike Tiffany Haddish at the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, at this point, it does feel a bit cookie cutter. Yeah. American Pie, going back to that, they actually made recently a female led one.
Okay.
I don't know her name. I think her name's Madison something. She was Disney.
Madison Pettis?
Yes.
Okay.
She was one of the lead girls in it.
Yeah.
Very fucking funny.
Really?
I was you've come a long way since that rock movie I never saw.
Oh, the game plan,
I think.
Yeah, the little girl. Yeah.
Yeah, you see her with I believe a dental dam.
Okay. Yeah, dude, she grew up to be a smoke show. I was like, what the fuck?
She is, cute little thing.
Yeah.
I feel I'm at the age where I'm I feel weird talking about 18-year-olds.
No, I think she's older than 18.
I think she is too, but at the time I was I'm older.
Yeah.
But yeah, that actually exceeded my expectations because I've seen 99% of the American Pie straight to DVD movies.
Okay.
Have you ever seen any of
No,
those?
I have not.
Oh my god, most of them are so bad. The one that stood out, the one that actually made me laugh the most was probably the first one they did, Bandcamp.
Okay.
But everything else after was just a poor attempt. I'm glad Eugene Levy got paid.
Yeah.
Because this was long before Schitt's Creek.
Yeah. Yeah. That movie really set the stage for the kind of gross sex comedy movies. There was one. Have we ever talked about The Whitest Kids You Know?
No, I don't think so.
Do you know who they are?
They're a sketch comedy group, right? Yeah, that's about the extent of my knowledge. I'm sure I've seen a few sketches. I know they had a TV show at one point as well.
Yeah, I don't know if it was just one of them or some of them. The one who directed Barbarian. Okay. He also directed a movie from around that time. It was called I don't remember what it was called, but it was about he tries to have sex with a porn star or something, and so.
Is it The Girl Next Door?
No, it's not.
Oh my god, I was gonna say.
Is that the Jennifer Lawrence movie? Or not Jennifer Lopez?
No, The Girl Next Door is I don't remember the girl's name, but it's Emile Hirsch.
Okay.
As a star. Literally the girl next door is visiting her aunt or uncle or something, and she is a porn star.
Okay. What's the Jennifer Lopez one?
Jennifer Lopez. There's a good amount.
Is it the boy next door?
Possibly.
Where she has sex with.
I can't say I recall that honestly.
No, just, yeah.
I know. I don't know. I don't think I've seen a single Jennifer Lopez movie.
Really?
I don't think so. I was very curious about Hustlers. It just never hit whatever streaming services I have, or probably did, and I just didn't look for it at the time.
Yeah, she was also in a comedy duo movie earlier this year, and one last year. Now that I think about it, and I've seen both for some reason. The one this year was called Shotgun Wedding. It's with her and Josh Duhamel. And terrorists.
I forgot about Josh Duhamel.
Yeah, everyone forgot about him except for Fergie, apparently. I think he's married to Fergie.
I believe it.
Okay. And terrorists crash their wedding, and they kill all the terrorists. And Jennifer Coolidge plays Josh Duhamel's mom, and she's
what?
Yeah.
This movie sounds fucking incredible.
Yeah, and they're in the jungle or something. It's on an island.
Okay.
It's just a corny action comedy. Mm-hmm. And then she was in another one with Owen Wilson called Marry Me.
I saw plenty of advertisements for that. It made me not want to see it.
It was not good. But I saw it on Valentine's Day last year. It was he was accidentally holding a sign that said "Marry Me," and then she married him.
That was one of those movies where they do the trailer that just gives away the entire movie. So I was kind of I don't need to see it now.
Yeah, it was not a great movie, but.
Is that one of those?
They both got their bag for that.
Right. Was that a movie where they were pretty much playing themselves?
She was playing a super rock star, so she was basically playing herself.
Right.
He was playing an English teacher or something like that.
Wasn't he also a dad too?
He was a dad, a single dad. They love their single dads.
I mean, hey, single dads rise up.
Yeah, they deserve some respect. Mm-hmm. They don't get their kids, or whatever.
Another movie I saw that did come out recently that I actually did enjoy was The Lost City.
Okay, yeah.
Sandra Bullock.
I was thinking about that when I was talking about the Jungle movie. I was just
when you said that, I was like, oh yeah, I watched that on a plane, I believe. And I liked it.
It was okay. It was like, was it funny?
There was funny moments too.
Okay.
It's one of those movies that I would put on like, oh, I'm gonna clean the house. On a Sunday.
Just like a background movie.
Yeah, but there's definitely a good parts like, oh, I'll stop and watch this.
Yeah,
it's one of those movies.
Yeah, it seemed very Jumanji-esque. Was it?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay.
But her being in the jungle wasn't really the primary like source of comedy, I guess. I mean, obviously that's part of the plot point, but
it was like the Channing Tatum being like a pretend badass. Was that like where most of the comedy derived?
There's a good chunk of that. It was her like being
like snooty.
Snooty. Oh my god, I'm totally brain farting on this. Cut it.
Okay. I will say if you
like The Lost City.
If you look at the poster of the Shotgun Wedding and the
it's fine.
Whatever one you just said, Lost City, they look exactly the same. It's just like
I believe it.
Yeah, just the same poster.
It actually cracks me up when movies do that.
Yeah,
like a bunch of like the Force Awakens poster.
Yeah,
the first one that came out. That one looks like two.
Yeah,
or three
like the
other
orange and
movies.
blue. That's like every movie poster is like orange and blue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it works. It's appealing.
Yeah. Another one I saw last year was a George Clooney, Julia Roberts reunite movie.
Yeah, that was
also took place in the jungle.
How was it?
It wasn't good. I did not like it.
I didn't realize it took place in the jungle.
Yeah, it was like their daughter, like she graduated law school, and so she took a big trip with her friends to like Indonesia or something like that. Yeah. And she meets like a jungle boy, not a jungle boy, like his family. She meets
Mowgli.
Yeah, she meets Mowgli. Basically, it's like like a tribal people or whatever.
Mimi Siku from Jungle to Jungle.
Yeah, and she falls in love with him, and she tells her parents like, I'm gonna get married, and they're like, you've been there for like a month, like what are you gonna get married to this boy in this jungle for? And they go there to try and talk her out of it.
What are you gonna marry this boy for?
Yeah. And they're divorced, but so they don't like each other. But they're like, oh, we have to go stop our daughter from marrying this guy.
Right. Yeah.
But then she does get married, and then they all live happily ever after in the jungle. They don't. They go back to America, but their relationship has reunited.
That's great. It sounds like the ending of George of the Jungle. So
yeah,
it makes me feel good.
any like parents reunite movie, I always just like imagine like 4 months down the line, like the parents start arguing again, and they're like, "Oh, this is why we got a divorce." Like,
yeah, that's one of those things where like I don't believe in the happily ever after thing. It's like it's a happy ending for this part of their life.
Yeah,
but there's more.
Yeah,
life is
like there's a reason they got a divorce.
Right. Yeah.
Like, you know.
I'm all for rekindling sparks and all that, but in terms of like legally, the separation / divorce process is costly, and then you have to divide assets and whatnot. And it's like it's just hook up once in a while. Let's get it out of your system. Yeah.
Not to mention it's like you just spent like one weekend like being nice to each other. Mm-hmm. Like, plenty of separated parents can spend a weekend being nice to each other. Yeah,
that's what a good chunk of weddings these days are.
Yeah, like in Zach and Cody, that was. I don't know why I like that about Zach and Cody.
You know what? I honestly love that about Zach and Cody too. Yeah. I was like, I haven't seen a lot of divorce representation because I'm a child of divorce as well, and you don't see that especially in kids programming at the time at least. Only other show I can recall there being a divorced. Any main character being a divorcee was Grace Under Fire. That's like a Chuck Lorre sitcom from early 90s. Yeah. But yeah,
you did a whole breakdown about it on the podcast.
I did. I love Grace Under Fire. Oh my God. They took it off of Vudu, and I was for years I was doing the watch free with ads thing. I'm devastated. And then Netflix took off Sister Sister. Devastated. I love Sister Sister as well.
Is it not on Disney Plus?
It probably is, but like it was nice just after watching it, it's been there for like 4 years, or it was there for like 4 years.
Now you got to find a new location, and
I'll be fine. Yeah. But yes, Zach and Cody, I loved that the mom and
because the parents hooked up at one point in the show.
They did,
and they thought they were going to get back together, but then they didn't, and so it was like, this is what would actually happen.
Yeah, it brings the reality of like, no, it's not always. Even if you want it, it's not going to work out. Yeah, like it's. It's just how it is.
Yeah. And these George Clooney movies, it is funny because I never put together that Julia Roberts and George Clooney like did movies together because they were in all the Oceans together.
Right.
And they had been in like other rom-coms together. And I was just like, oh, like, because I saw them on like the Drew Barrymore show or some bullshit, morning show. And they were talking about like, oh yeah, it's so nice to do a movie together again. And I was like, oh, I guess I never put that together.
Right. Yeah. It's one of those like, did you Mandela it things?
Maybe.
Did I make that up?
Yeah. I just didn't put it like the Tom Hanks, Meg Ryan thing. Mm-hmm. Like they weren't like Sleepless in Seattle, You've Got Mail. Probably more, but I can't think of them.
I haven't seen either of those, but I didn't realize they were both the stars of it. I figured Meg Ryan was only in one of them, but
they were both the stars in a few movies.
This is a movie podcast. I should know all this shit.
What's another comedy movie you've seen recently?
What is another comedy movie I have seen recently?
I would say let's rank all these by funniness, but we've listed so many movies right now that I can't.
Plus, that's so subjective.
Yeah.
We talked about. Oh my gosh, it was on Hulu. Andy Samberg.
Oh, Palm Springs.
Palm Springs.
Yeah.
That was a very.
That was funny, but it was also like a good like drama too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, since we're talking about Hulu movies and since we're talking about vacation movies, I just remembered 2 movies on Hulu that fit both of those criteria. It's in the Criterion Collection. Vacation Friends 1 and 2.
Criterion Collection, huh?
I started Vacation Friends when it first came out because I was like, John Cena,
it seemed fine.
Lil Rel.
Yeah.
I was like, but I just turned it off. I was like, I don't give a fuck.
Hulu's comedies aren't always home runs, so it's just kind of like I'm not doing anything.
Yeah. Which really sucks because I remember like when Hulu first came about, or when it was first started to like be like the next Netflix, it was like all the FX shows were on there,
yes.
like a bunch of like heavy hidden fucking comedy, like just really good shit. Mm-hmm. A lot of their early movies I remember like were better than like the Netflix movies even. I can't think of any off the top of my head, so I might just be talking out of my ass. But I remember just when we first got Hulu, I was like, this is so much better than Netflix. But now it's starting to hit the Netflix thing of like just too much shit, too much mediocre shit that like.
Hulu does that thing that pisses me off about half of the streaming services. We're like, oh, we've got this TV show. Yeah. We've got it. Oh, we only have like 4 episodes from season 2 and 5 episodes from season 6.
Really? Okay, I haven't run across that.
It's not as common as it used to be, but I've seen it on definitely on Netflix. I've seen it on Hulu.
Okay.
There's another one.
I know
Paramount Plus. Paramount Plus is the biggest offender of that.
I know they took off a bunch of like Blackface episodes from shows.
Yeah.
Which it's kind of funny to think about like how many shows from like the late 2000s had blackface.
Yeah, the fact that all these different shows had to go back and scrub that is by that piece of information alone, that sentence on paper is hilarious.
Yeah. It's like every single one of these sitcoms, it like if it was just like a couple, it's like okay, but it's like every single sitcom has a blackface episode.
And it's like all of the heaviest hitters too, like 30 Rock had a couple that they had to take
30
off.
Rock, Always Sunny, fucking Community.
I recall
which that one is not really black, but it's a little bit blackface.
I probably saw it. I can't remember it right now.
Okay.
I remember the first time I think I ever registered with blackface was probably Chappelle's show. But like obviously it's different when he's doing it, obviously. And his white face is hilarious. So like who cares? The Sarah Silverman program.
Okay,
that's around the same time as Chappelle's show when it was still airing.
Even SNL had like
SNL's definitely done it.
Which it is funny because they did a sketch where it was like a bunch of senators like who like did blackface, and Kenan Thompson is like, all right, like who did blackface? And then it's like, well, if you go back like 10 years ago on SNL, like Fred Armisen was playing Obama. Like it was.
I was about to bring that up. That never. Even at the time, I was just kind of like, is this like accurate?
Yeah.
And I don't know. His Obama never blew me away either. Not that I'm a great impressionist. Like he got the job and I didn't. So can't talk shit. But
Donald auditioned for that part.
Just to like be Obama.
Yeah, he auditioned for the cast, but
yeah,
like he was a contender to play Obama.
Mm-hmm. I believe it.
Yeah.
Oh shit! What was I about to talk about? Blackface. Sarah Silverman.
Oh man,
Fred Armisen. Oh, SNL.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember Jimmy Fallon did Chris Rock.
Yeah.
And that was resurfacing over the past couple of years. That was very interesting.
I gotta say, he does do a good impression of Chris Rock. Like that was.
He does the voice great.
Yeah.
He doesn't really look like him. He's not at all built like him. To be fair, Chris Rock is quite thin, but it's very funny.
Yeah.
This is what I was going to talk about. A few years ago, this might be closer to 10 years now, because I watched SNL as an adult. Like I've watched it like pretty religiously, and I recall there was a time where they didn't have almost any. They had one, not even one. They didn't have any black female cast members on the show, and so they had Kerry Washington host. And in the opening sketch, they had her play Michelle Obama, Oprah, I think like two other black women, and then during the sketch, like SNL did like this scrolling text and was like, hey, since you guys have been talking about this, we're going to address this, and we're going to fill in, we're going to get us some more representation up in here. So then a few weeks later, maybe the week after, they hired Sasheer Zamata, who's incredible. I love her. I think Leslie Jones got hired as a writer at the time.
Okay.
And then they hired 4 black women like immediately after that. So that's what I recall. Nicole Byer may have been one of them, but I could be making that up. I feel like she wrote for SNL for a season.
She was one of the black women?
Possibly.
Nicole Byer?
Nicole Byer she's the host of Nailed It.
I was thinking of
Nicole Richie.
No, yeah. Nicole
She's
Richie.
half black. No, she's not.
Who am I thinking of? The chick we were making fun of for her teeth in the Pop Star episode. Why the fuck can I never remember this girl? Vanessa Bayer.
Oh, Vanessa Bayer.
Yeah, I was thinking of her. I was like, she's black?
No. Vanessa Bayer is quite white. I believe, very, very quite white.
I remember there was a sketch with The Rock, and the joke was like, there are a bunch of, like, it's a rapper who has like a ton of features on his new rap music video, but all the rappers were like white except for like Michael Che. And I was just like,
the last few years, anytime they've needed an extra black man character, they've always roped in Michael.
Yeah. And I was like, man, this is like weird that they like, it's all these like white actors playing rappers.
Yeah,
and
it's usually like Mikey Day.
Yeah. And I was like, not that white people can't be rappers, but I was just you guys need
a good handful have found success.
Yeah, but like, I don't think it was like 20, it was like a line of like 20 people.
Yeah.
And it was only like Michael Che and The Rock, who I guess he's half black. So like,
Keenan probably.
Keenan, yeah. But yeah, I was like, oh man, this is it doesn't look good.
Yeah, Jay Farrow didn't stick around he stuck around for quite a while, but he didn't stick around longer because he was just going to go where you wanted, because at the end of the day, he was really only used for his color.
Impressions.
Really. Yeah. His impressions are incredible too. Like they definitely utilized those, but they weren't giving him like the stuff he should have, in my opinion, the stuff he deserved. Because he had, oh my God, one of his characters I loved was like this principal of a elementary school.
Okay.
And he did it like 3 or 4 times, and he based it off of like his actual like principal at some point. It was just so funny because it was always during like a school function, like a school dance or like a carnival.
Okay.
And it was just always like the wildest shit would come out of his mouth.
Yeah, I don't know. For him, it's like he left SNL and like he's not really like. I think he had his own show for a while.
He had a show on Showtime,
but then it got canceled.
Yeah, because
I don't even think that like the full season aired.
Maybe I remember it was on Showtime, and
Jamie Foxx produced it. I think
that sounds right. It
was called White Famous.
That's what it was. I was like, it was something famous. I can't remember. Yeah, that's what it was.
But yeah, and outside of that, like the only things I see him in now is just like just basically just still doing impressions, but just like on other things. Yeah, I feel kind of bad for him. I feel like he's got a pretty good stand-up career. Okay.
Like
I haven't seen him do stand up. So maybe
yeah, even when he was on SNL, he was still stand up. So.
Okay.
I think he's doing all right. He's not a big movie star like he may have hoped at one point. But.
Yeah. Because I remember after he left SNL, I was thinking, like, oh, he's going to be like the next big guy.
But that's like, what I thought too, because that one hurt. I was like, oh man, I loved all this shit.
His show got canceled, and then he's just been like appearing in other people's like projects.
Yeah.
He was in Champagne Ill. Did you ever watch that?
I can't say I know what that is.
It was a YouTube original. Remember when YouTube was like doing original series?
Like Cobra Kai.
Yeah, like Cobra Kai. It was like that time. It was Sam Richardson and Adam Polly, I believe.
Okay.
And there were two friends from Champaign, Illinois, and Jay Farrow is like he was their best friend in high school who becomes a big famous rapper.
Oh, okay.
But then he dies, and so they have to go back to their hometown and like readjust to like not being in an entourage.
Oh, that's funny.
And it was such a funny show. I loved it when it came out, but then it was YouTube Premium or whatever, YouTube original series.
Yeah.
Went fucking nowhere. I think it's on Hulu now, like buried. But it was really funny. I was really hoping it would get a second season for that one.
I love that premise. It sounds very funny. It sounds kind of like there's a show called The Other Two where it's like,
oh yeah, the little Justin Bieber boy.
Yeah, and then it's like his like older siblings or something.
Yeah, Drew Tarver is it?
I think so. I haven't seen this. I haven't watched it, but I love that premise of just like, oh,
yeah,
where do we fit in this?
Yeah, I watched the pilot of it, but that was a show that sort of, I think, it just sort of fell into the issue of like, all right, the joke is that the two kids aren't as popular as the younger brother, and then it was like a Comedy Central show, and so those just sort of repeat the same premise episodes.
Yeah, those don't always nail it these days.
Yeah. Did you ever watch Nora from Queens?
I've never watched it, but I was always curious.
Yeah, that was another one where I never watched it either, but it just looked like every episode was just the same thing, just like what trouble can Awkwafina get into today?
Right. Awkwafina, I would watch like her stand up, and like she had I don't know if I think it was you can call it a show. She just like she interviewed like Pete Davidson and shit back before, I think it was like right before he got SNL and stuff.
Okay.
So that was kind of how I knew her. Okay. And then it's wild to see her like in movies and shit.
Yeah. In Marvel movies.
She's a seagull in Little Mermaid.
Oh yeah. She's apparently not allowed to do her voice anymore.
Oh, they call it a black scent.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wish.
Who cares? Like,
I wish someone would go around my hometown and tell all the people.
I was gonna say like that's like just how people. She, I believe, or I'm being racist. She and Sandra Oh are in an upcoming comedy where she's like an expert at game shows, and Will Ferrell like hosts like The Price is Right type game show.
I think I've heard about this.
Yeah, I just saw the trailer for it the other day, and that one looks pretty funny. So. Maybe we will have a good, funny comedy movie this year.
Maybe there's always the opportunity.
There was a good joke in the trailer. I remember where like someone like honks at Sandra Oh, and they're like, "Learn how to drive," and she was like, "Oh, no. What? Because I'm Asian?" And then she turns around, it's an Asian guy, and I was like, that's a good joke.
That is funny.
Yeah. I love a good race switch up, where it's like you think it's going to be like a racist joke, but then it turns around on you.
It's because I don't know. Not because it's like the new trend, not new trend, I guess, but I don't even know what the fuck I'm saying. You're
right. It's like a reverse. It is a trend now, but it's like a sort of like a stereotype like reversal where it's like the stereotype.
This was the what she thinks happened is of yesteryear.
Yeah.
Now the spin is we're gonna flip it on your head.
Yeah.
Make you look like the asshole.
Speaking of Asian people driving, did you watch Beef?
I did not, but I heard amazing things.
Yeah, it was really good, but I didn't finish it because I just I got onto other stuff. I do kind of want to go back to rewatch it, but
I truly have not been watching anything the last like few months.
Because
earlier this year I was like, oh, I'm gonna burn through all of my watch lists just to like clear them out so I can just add new shit or like, oh, they added this month, let me watch that.
Yeah.
And after I did that, I've just been not interested. I've watched stuff for our stuff. Yeah, of course. And then I do like a game show.
Okay.
I like my Wheel of Fortunes and my Jeopardies, my Celebrity Wheel of Fortunes and my Celebrity Jeopardies, Family Feuds.
Celebrity Family Feud is primo.
Oh, it's the best
content. Yeah, I love Celebrity Family Feud. But yeah, I have noticed, like just with doing the podcast, I'm like less interested in like watching stuff now because I'm just like,
okay, now that I feel better now.
Like fuck me, man. Like why? Like I don't want to watch Eraserhead tonight. Like now I have to fucking go home and watch Eraserhead. Like this is the, you know whatever they say, Sisyphus, like the fucking pushing a boulder and then it's always gonna. I don't think that's the right analogy, but you get what I mean.
I don't even know what the fuck word you just said.
Sisyphus. It's like a Greek myth about a guy who was cursed by the gods, so he had to keep pushing a boulder up a hill. Oh, okay. But then once it gets to the top, it rolls down, and so he has to like keep pushing.
Going. Yeah, I've seen imagery of that. For sure. Rough life.
Poor Sisyphus. Poor syphilis.
It's all terrible.
Yeah. I don't know. What are some other kind of Beef? Yeah, it's good. I don't know that it was funny per se, but it was like a good story where it kept you thinking, kept you like, oh, where's it gonna go from here? And what the characters like. They're interesting characters and whatever. Because
the movie starts off with a rather small conflict, correct?
Yeah, it starts off.
The show. Is it show?
Yeah, show.
Yeah, show. Okay.
It starts off with like I don't remember who's in it. Glenn from The Walking Dead.
Yes.
And Stephen Yeun and
Steve. Yeah, that's it.
And a lady, Ali Wong.
Yes, Ali Wong.
And she's like a rich artist, and he's like a down on his luck construction boy. But they're both mad about different things. She's mad that she doesn't love her husband. He's mad that he's poor. And then they get into a road rage altercation.
Yes.
And then it goes from there.
And it just spirals. Okay. Yeah. That sounds like
it's a good show. Yeah. But just not same thing. Not very funny, which I guess we can get into sort of, the grander aspect of what we've been talking about with comedies is that it doesn't seem like there's like things being made that are like, this is just a pure comedy outside of the ones we've mentioned, but everything is like Succession, where it's like, it's a drama, but it's funny.
Yeah.
Or a Marvel movie where like it's superheroes, but it's funny. Mm-hmm. Or, kids movie, but it's funny. And the comedies that are being made, they're just studio pictures, just a bunch of fucking idiots in an office. Like, oh, it'd be funny if they said fuck. And it's just like, put a little bit more effort into it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The real star of comedy movies lately is John Cena, I've noticed.
Yeah. Which is weird.
I liked him in Trainwreck. Trainwreck as a whole was just okay, but
yeah, he was funny in Trainwreck. Yeah. But I guess like the juxtaposition of like he's this super masculine guy who's like also kind of like a pussy,
insecure.
That's the
word that comes to mind for that character,
and also might be gay.
Was that it? Oh yeah, his he had that Tobias innuendo thing.
Yeah, he like
Freudian.
Yeah, that was funny when he was having sex with Amy Schumer, and she was like, tell me about the first time you met me, and he's like, oh, I remember I saw you from behind, and I was so turned on, and then you turned around, and I thought you were a man, and he came.
It reminds me of Charlie Day talking dirty and Horrible Bosses. So he's like, I'm gonna jump up and down in your butt.
That was a good comedy movie.
I loved Horrible Bosses. I loved it. I only watched the sequel once, but I don't remember hating it.
Yeah,
comedy sequels are very, very risky.
Yeah, I think because the thing is with a lot of those comedy movies from that sort of time is there was a hook to the movie, like these guys are gonna kill their bosses, and comedy ensues. Whereas now it's just like, John Cena's going on vacation and he's going to get drunk. And
the stakes don't seem as high.
Yeah. This one strays. This one really bothered me. I don't know why.
I had zero interest. That looked to me like, remember Cats and Dogs?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, this was bad when I saw it as a kid.
Yeah. I was like, and it was like Will Ferrell and Jamie Foxx, but they're dogs, and they do drugs. It's the same thing. It's just like they get drunk. I think it is.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, that can't be like the go-to like comedy. Like, wouldn't it be funny if there was a scene where they get super drunk and then we do like the, like the POV shot where it's like, we talked about it with Jonah Hill when he was high in that movie, and that sort of became a staple of like, a high scene or a drunk scene.
I would say, yeah, definitely a party and or intoxication angle.
Yeah. Although I did like it in one of the 21 Jump Street movies where it was like Jonah Hill was like in like hell, and then Channing Tatum was like flying and like surrounded by like rainbows and shit.
I think that was 22.
Yeah. Yeah. That was a good use of the scene, but majority of the scene, like the high scenes, I'm just like, it's just an excuse for just, I don't know, a lot of crazy imagery, I think.
Well, it's one of those things where it's like, Channing Tatum was more or less like of the two in 21 Jump Street.
Yeah.
He's like the straight man, even though he's not. It's just physically he's the action / Magic Mike guy, whereas Jonah Hill is super bad and it's Knocked Up and all those other Judd Apatow bangers.
Yeah.
So it's funny to see Channing Tatum essentially in a cartoon acting silly.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't love the drug scenes because it's not. We've talked about before, I'm a big story guy. It doesn't add anything to the story. It just feels like, oh, wouldn't it be funny if there was a scene where he got drunk and threw up?
Yeah, a lot of them seem more like technical challenges. Like, what if we strapped a camera on Jonah? What if we green screened them and animated this insane fucking Yellow Submarine like animation?
Yeah, like I feel like if you're gonna do a high scene, it should be like, oh, they get super high, but then the principal walks or like the boss walks in, and they need to come up with and like, try and seem normal or something. I know that I can't think of any movies that have done that, but yeah, just the like excessive party scenes. I don't love excessive party scenes.
Gotcha. Did you ever watch Workaholics?
No. Okay. But I've seen like clips of it.
Great.
It is funny.
Love that show.
Yeah, I find it very funny.
I don't listen to the podcast, but I'm sure it's great. They also did a film for Netflix called Game Over Man.
Game Over Man, yeah, that's right.
That I very much enjoyed.
Okay.
I was not skeptical. I was just kind of like, oh, guys, this isn't Workaholics. I hope it. I was just nervous. As parents often are.
Yep.
And it exceeded my expectations.
Okay. They were supposed to do a Workaholics movie.
Yes, and then
which I believe that got turned into Game Over Man, or.
I don't know about that so
much. Not turned into, but like they made Game Over Man instead.
That could be it.
Okay.
The Workaholics movie was supposed to be a recent thing, but then Paramount Plus shut it down literally like, I want to say a month, but it may have been like a couple weeks before production was starting.
Okay.
Which is such a bummer because like that's fucking bunch of jobs gone for those people that were like, oh fuck, we're doing the movie. Yeah. And I believe last I heard they were trying to shop it around to be like, oh, maybe someone will want to buy the rights from Paramount and make it for us, but doesn't usually work out.
Yeah. Did you hear about this Community movie that apparently is happening, but also a script hasn't been written?
I've heard about this Community movie for probably 15 years, it feels like. So it's kind of one of those, like, I believe it's happening. It's just, it's one of those, like, I'll, once it's in front of me, I'll be like, oh, I'm excited to see this now. Or at least I know they're in production.
Yeah, because Donald Glover, like, confirmed in an interview recently, he said, like, it is coming, but just like no one's seen anything from it.
Yeah, I think it was maybe his GQ.
Yeah, like About My Life or whatever. Yeah, whatever it is.
Breakdowns his most iconic characters. Yeah, that's where he also confirmed that Lando is still going to be a thing, but now since then that's been converted into a movie.
Yeah, I did see that. Mm-hmm. Which I didn't see Solo, but he was the only reason I wanted to see Solo.
He was great in it. I have friends who don't like Star Wars. I went and saw it because of him. So
yeah. And we've talked about Star Wars so much, but I just hope it's not like...
Some people are here for it. It's fine.
Yeah. I just hope if they're going to do like a Lando thing, it's just like a simple Lando story. It doesn't need to be like, the galaxy's going to be over and only Lando can... I don't know. I just want to see a good story. I don't see
it going that route. Necessarily.
Yeah.
If anything, it could talk about like him coming to power at like Cloud City.
Yeah.
Bespin. Or it could just be one of his one-off fucking amazing, sexy
like I'd
adventures.
love to just see that. Yeah,
like Lando fucks. It's
I don't want to see the Lando Grogu movie.
It's fair.
What's Grogu up to? Like, what is
right now in Mando? They just hang out. Like at one point, he gave him to Luke Skywalker to train.
That's right.
Then 2 years went by, and he was like, "Oh, I miss Dad." So then he goes back to him. Now they're just kind of like bounty hunters for hire.
Okay.
And he's like gonna be a bounty hunter. He wears like Beskar
chain.
I think it's chain link mesh thing. Yeah, it's either that or it's straight up like an armor thing.
Okay.
I can't recall.
Is he? I don't know. Would you ever see like a future Grogu thing? Do you think they would ever do that?
Do I think they would do it? Probably, as long as he stays merchandisable, because I'm sure that's part of the reason he exists.
Well, because I mean, once Grogu becomes like Yoda's age, I don't think he'd be merchandisable anymore.
No, considering we're about 12 to 15 years, maybe 20 years away from Kylo Ren killing all the younglings, I'm still not convinced Grogu is gonna make it to prequel era or sequel era.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Whenever they finish The Mandalorian, if they are ever going to finish The Mandalorian, I'd like to know what Grogu gets up to in the future.
Will do.
This will be the last thing, and then we'll end this because we're almost at an hour. Have you been watching Ahsoka?
I have, yes.
What's going on? What's the deal with this Ahsoka? Anakin is in it?
Anakin is in it. Hayden Christensen himself. He's in the... Ahsoka finds herself in the world between worlds, which we learn about in Rebels.
Okay.
Because she kind of got a oopsie. She got hurt, but she was able to bring herself back because of her encounter with Anakin at the world between worlds. So in that moment, we see Ahsoka be from like... She just pretty much becomes a Padawan again. Like, you kind of see she's like kind of like... Throughout the whole show, she's very like arms crossed and like stoic, you know? And this is the first time we see her be like more like her younger self, like kind of, I don't want to say scared necessarily, but like, you know, definitely kind of off her guard.
Yeah.
And then, Hayden Christensen comes back as Anakin. He's like talking to her and it's really fucking cute and awesome. And then he like finishes her training, which I think is just a play on words for like, we're going to lightsaber fight until you know for a fact.
Is this with the red lightsaber?
It's with both.
Okay.
He like switches between Vader and himself.
Okay, so is he a nice boy in this, or is he a bad boy?
In the at the starting point and the end point, he is a good boy.
Okay,
but he kind of changes himself into Vader at certain points during their lightsaber fight / training sesh.
Okay.
Just to
like scare
her, but / like do what I'm telling you to do. If this is the way, I don't know.
Okay.
I'm kind of not butchering it, but I'm being kind of vague about it.
Now, this takes place after Return of the Jedi?
Yes, this takes place in the same timeline as like Mandalorian, Boba Fett. It's like after.
After he's dead.
After who's dead?
Anakin.
Oh yeah.
He's dead at
He's dead as fuck. He's very much.
His body's burned.
Yeah, no, he was already Vader and dead. Vader died. Like, yeah, that's gone. His Force ghost is, I guess, one way you can look at it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So it's his Force ghost.
I don't know if it's his Force ghost like specifically, but it's pretty much a Force ghost effect.
Okay.
Because in the remastered Return of the Jedi, we see Hayden Christensen as the good Jedi boy. So I think it's supposed to be that.
How much of the show is he in?
As of right now, he was only in
the one episode.
Pretty much. I think he's in the tail end of the episode before.
Ah, okay. Yeah, because I had seen people posting like Anakin is like a major player in it, and I was like, oh, is he like in the entire show?
He was like the star of that episode, and then he wasn't in the newest episode this week.
He wasn't in it?
No. We've got 2 left, I think.
Has Thrawn showed up yet?
He just showed up.
Just showed up
this week.
Is he Lars Mikkelsen?
If that's the guy who voices him, yeah, that's him. It's interesting. I don't know if he's wearing contacts or if they just CG'd his eyes because they they're red and they glow, which is very, very that's concerning.
Cool. Yeah, that'd be kind of bad for the eyes, but good for the effects. Is it a good show? Do you think?
I love it.
Yeah,
I liked Rebels a lot, so I think it's a great successor.
Does Freddie Prinze show up?
No Kanan as of yet. That would be a treat, though.
Is he supposed to? Is that what they're saying, or no?
I don't see how he would, frankly.
Okay.
But I guess it would be nice. What was it? In the third season of Mandalorian, we see Zeb from Rebels.
He's the big guy?
Yeah, the big guy.
Okay.
He's kind of modeled after the original Chewbacca look. So he's alive and well, but he has yet to show up in Ahsoka, and we're 6 out of 8 episodes deep.
Okay.
So that has me like, would like to see everybody together before
all the
one, most, or all of them die.
Yeah. Oh, and Captain Rex was in an episode?
Yeah, but like it's not like he took his helmet off or anything. Oh. So he could have been CG. He could have been just like I know they've hired like 501st people to like do some of the clone trooper and stormtrooper stuff.
But so hasn't Timora Morrison like been doing all the clone troopers?
He did the voice stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if that was I don't know if that was a physical person that was Captain Rex or if that was like a CG thing like they did with they've been doing more practical shit lately, especially when it comes to people in armor like stormtroopers. So I would bet money on it's probably a real person. But if we took note of Timu's shape, what's his
Timora,
yeah, I call it Timu. That's a cat I know. If we take note of his physique in the current season or the season of Boba Fett, and look at this Captain Rex person, I don't believe they're the same person.
Okay, what about... Okay, this is my last question.
Not to fat shame.
Yeah. He's not going to watch this. My last question, what about Darth Maul? I guess he's dead at this point, right?
Oh, he's hella dead.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, wait. Yeah, no, he's hella dead.
Okay. He's come back before.
Yeah, no, he's hella dead because Luke Skywalker is a grown-ass man.
Does Luke show up in it?
Not yet.
Are people thinking he's going to?
I think people are hopeful, but as you probably know, Star Wars fans are awful.
Yeah.
So if he doesn't, someone's going to be upset.
Yeah.
But I personally don't see why he would.
Yeah.
But he's shown up before randomly, so
yeah.
I don't put it past him.
Well, you know what else is awful is all these comedies, and we want to see better comedies. So let us know in the comments if you like comedy movies and if you think the studios should try harder to make better comedy movies.
I like Pitch Perfect, too. That was a good one.
Yeah.
The sequels were meh, but that was a good start.
I'll take it. We'll see you next time. Big peace.